A top Truck Series team is shutting down at year's end, and Zane Smith tweets something suspicious. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove midweek edition of the show. If you're new to the channel and you love all things NASCAR, you're in the right place. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And if you're going to be at Daytona this weekend, I will be there as well, Friday and Saturday. So if you see a tall guy with glasses, that's probably me. Feel free to come say howdy. Lots of news to get to today. Let's begin with a curious tweet I saw from driver Zane Smith yesterday. That's it. There you go. Hit us with one of these. Stroking his chin. I wish I had like a long beard. I could really sell it. But no, what could Zane Smith be trying to tell us? Does he have a deal done for 2024? Could this just be his way of acknowledging the recent reports that Stewart-Haas is looking to sell 2 of their charters? Is he acknowledging the reports that 2311 Racing is talking to Ford and maybe in the market for said charters? He could be hinting at anything because right now anything is on the table. Zane Smith is one of the most intriguing free agents still on the market. He is a free agent. Last week, or was it the week before, Front Row Motorsports made their decision. Michael McDowell and Todd Gilliland will once again drive their 2 Cup Series cars. Front Row didn't rule out the possibility of still striking some sort of deal with Zane Smith, but they also said Zane is now free to negotiate with anyone. And actually, we talked yesterday briefly about a report from reporter Lee Spencer, who appeared on PRN's YouTube channel, and said that she'd heard Zane Smith has talked to 2311 Racing. So anything is possible.
The other scenario I heard is that 2311's talking to Zane Smith. I only heard that from one person, but person's usually pretty spot on when it comes to, their intel. And so
Zane Smith has been with Ford since just the start of last year. He came over to Front Row and their Truck Series team, immediately went out and won a championship, and I think he's one of the favorites to win it this year. I'm sure Ford would like to keep him. If 2311 actually were to switch to Ford, perhaps Zane Smith would be a very natural fit. Man, silly season. I know people hate that name, but this year it's living up to it. Longtime viewers of my show will remember a few years ago, I would attempt to do like a full silly season prediction. I'd often pull out like a whiteboard. I'd be drawing lines, trying to connect the dots quite literally. I can't do that anymore because free agency it's not silly season, it's ridiculous season. Drivers, sponsors, teams buying charters, teams buying whole teams. Sometimes it's impossible to predict everything. We can speculate or predict individual cases like, hey, will Martin Truex Jr. choose to retire? Who will Front Row pick to fill their 2 slots? But there's no point in trying to predict all of free agency. It's impossible at this point. Up until a week ago, up until 2 days ago, no one really was taking seriously the possibility of Denny Hamlin and 2311 ditching Toyota. But recent reports this week, that now looks like a legitimate possibility. Maybe not the most likely outcome, but a very legitimate possibility. So there's no point in trying to predict everything. Although I got a lot of comments on my video yesterday, so now it's time for our new segment. Let's take one of your comments from out of the crowd. And I thought this comment actually made a great point. This comment comes from Vorticos63, and they said, do you think that Zane Smith being a free agent has impacted the 2311 decision? He might be the best free agent out there. If charters are available, it could happen. This is actually a really good point. I mean, it's purely speculation, but it makes a lot of sense. Michigan, 3 weeks ago, Denny Hamlin sounded completely disinterested in buying a 3rd charter at this time. Then, again, about a week ago, Front Row announces that Zane Smith is on the market. He's a free agent. 2311 Racing has been aggressive in the past. I mean, just last year, they managed to pry Tyler Reddick away from RCR a whole year early. It's probably not a coincidence that reports of 2311 talking to Ford, 2311 talking to Zane Smith, and 2311 now being interested in purchasing a charter are all breaking at the exact same time. So again, we're just guessing at this point, but I think that's a fairly educated guess. Before we move on entirely, again, I'm very high on Zane Smith. I think he is arguably the top prospect currently in the lower two NASCAR series. Whoever lands him next season, I think, is getting a very mature young driver with a very high ceiling, honestly, a fairly low floor. Remember, a couple years ago, Chip Ganassi was ready to put Zane Smith in a Cup car full time. Zane Smith may be driving the one car today if Trackhouse didn't swoop in and buy out Ganassi. I think Zane Smith is ready for the Cup Series. I hope he gets an opportunity with an exciting, young, competitive team. 2311 fits that description. So we'll see what happens, whether Zane is driving for 2311 first and foremost, whether it's in a Ford, whether it's in a Toyota, or whether someone else comes knocking. But going back to that tweet from Zane Smith, either he's acknowledging the rumors, the reports, or he's got something in store for us next year. He's this close to telling us exactly what it is. But let's move on now from sort of a situation where we're all kind of just guessing, shooting in the dark, trying our best to piece things together. And let's talk about a story that's real, something that actually broke this morning. GMS Racing, a staple of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for the past decade or so, announced that they are shutting down at year's end. Here was the official statement from the team. They tweeted, "Our time spent in NASCAR has been incredible, and we are thankful for everybody's support throughout the years. We'll be giving it everything we've got from here on out till Phoenix." They continued, "This morning, GMS Racing officials announced it will cease operations at the conclusion of the 2023 race season. GMS Fabrication, a separate entity which has operated alongside the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race team, will also close its doors following the championship race at Phoenix." Disappointing news for sure. Just as a Truck Series team, GMS won 2 titles. They won with Johnny Sauter back in 2016, and then 2020 was maybe GMS's peak. They had 5 full-time trucks that year, 4 full-time drivers. Sheldon Creed won the title. I think as a team, I looked it up, they won, 10 combined races that year. GMS has been a force to be reckoned with in the Truck Series for, again, many years. They've been a great proving ground for a lot of young talent. This year, we've seen veteran talent like Grant Enfinger bring them into the playoffs. They've got a couple of young rookies, Raja Karuth, Daniel Dye. It is very disappointing to hear it confirmed that GMS won't be around after this season. It's disappointing, but it's not like crazy surprising. And actually, I'd heard a few weeks ago, actually maybe a couple months ago, that GMS was likely going to shut down at the end of this season. And it didn't really shock me considering, Maury Gallagher now has a full-on Cup Series operation. That's switching manufacturers, moving to Toyota next season. In GMS's full statement today, they ended it by saying this, quote, "While the ending of an era with the closing of the race team is undeniably a difficult circumstance, bright futures lie ahead. Heading into 2024, Legacy Motor Club co-owners Maury Gallagher and Jimmy Johnson look to strengthen the team on all fronts with their NASCAR Cup Series efforts to become a force to be reckoned with for years to come." So clearly, Maury Gallagher, that whole group, are looking to focus their efforts on their NASCAR Cup Series team. This was obviously a terrible year on track for Legacy Motor Club. Next year, teaming up with Toyota, the sky is the limit. It makes sense. They would want to focus as much of their attention as possible on that effort. It is a shame, though, that it comes at the expense of a great Truck Series program. I'll be really curious to see what happens, especially to those 2 young drivers, Raja Karuth and Daniel Dye. I've heard that Grant Enfinger probably has another decent Truck Series deal lined up. But the younger drivers, Raja in particular, I think he's been looking around for his next opportunity the past couple of months. Maybe he's found it and is just waiting for the right time to announce it. I like Raja a lot. I consider him a friend of the show. We used to co-host some live streams on this channel together back during the pandemic, during the iRacing Pro Invitational days. He's a great kid, and if you've watched him the last few years, he's a true student of the game. He's taking notes. He listens intently. He's all about learning. And he does have a lot of learning still to go. I think he's clearly got some talent. Is he a bona fide can't miss superstar? No, not at this point. But he has potential, and it's been cool to see his journey, to see his growth. I think he's close. I think he's close to taking a big step. We've seen improved performance out of Raja this year compared to last year. I think being full-time in trucks, getting additional seat time has been important. So Daniel Dye, we'll see where he ends up. Raja Karuth, I am especially curious to see what his future holds. But definitely disappointing to hear it confirmed that GMS Racing is no more. Racing is tough. Obviously, it takes a ton of money, but it also takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of really good people. It's easy to spread yourself thin. I hope Legacy Motor Club has a bounce back season in Cup because, man, it stings to lose such a crucial Truck Series operation. But that's the latest news. Leave a comment down below. How surprised are you to hear that GMS is shutting down? Where do you think Grant Enfinger could end up? What about Raja Karuth, Daniel Dye? What does this mean for the future of the Truck Series to lose, one of your top teams that fields 2, 3, sometimes 4 trucks a season? That's a big deal. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. That is going to do it for today's episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Once again, if you're new to the channel and you love NASCAR, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And thank you to my Patreon supporters, as always, for going above and beyond to support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Once again, I will be at Daytona this weekend. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see y'all again very, very soon.